Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can't hear me? Can
It
you
was
hear
me.
me?
It was me. I can hear you.
You can hear me. Girl, don't do that to me. You hear me?
I'm sorry, my bad. It was me.
Got me freaking out. It's not working. So,
No, thank God we're like testing it out early. Hold on.
yeah, it's all good. I was just curious because I actually was testing it earlier because I'm using a microphone.
Uh-huh.
I think it'll be different and better. So, and supposedly it is. So anyway.
Well, yeah, I do that with my own, I have speakers when I do taco.
Yeah.
I now attach one to the guest and then one to myself, especially in a restaurant and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I got a few things going on today. This has turned out to be an okay morning, so I'm feeling good. Moving
Good.
forward. So yeah, like me, Delilah, I don't plan, I wing. And so one of the things that I tend to do is I overthink before I do. So this time I'm just going to do. So Terry's in the house. What's up, Terry? You can show your face too, Terry.
Yeah.
Hey.
Good morning.
Can't hear you on speaker. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good
So,
to see you.
just so you know, Delilah, Terry is my ambassador to me and Sandy moving to Florida. So she lives in Florida, and she has nothing but expertise of where to look, where to go, what to look at, what not to do, where not to go.
Where not to go.
Yeah.
So Terry, where are you? I'm in Orlando. Where are you at?
North Reddington Beach, down by Madeira, Clearwater, that area.
Yep, that's like more of the western side.
Yeah, I'm across the street from the beach.
Yeah.
Right over there.
That's awesome. No, that's cool. I'm a fan. I'm Team Florida as well. So even though Julian knows I'm originally from Chicago, and I still hope.
I see that.
Yeah.
I see that.
Originally from Chicago. Oh,
Yeah, I guess we can't be friends, can we?
we can. But
little rivalry going there.
Yeah, but it's I think it's like also like a stadium rivalry.
It is.
Right? Like
yeah.
Just so iconic, right?
I know. I'm so sad that old. You see that what that is? That's Old Busch Stadium.
That's old.
Yeah.
Yep. And
I grew up in Old Busch Stadium.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Is that baseball?
It's Cubs and Cardinals.
Yeah.
Huge rivalry. It's like Yankees, Red Sox. I mean,
yeah.
Never got into baseball as a kid. I don't understand it. Everybody hits the ball, they always catch it. So it's like,
but it's not so much that. Like when you grow up with it in that town, it's a family thing.
Yeah.
Like like you spend a Sunday afternoon at the ballpark. It's a family. You're all sitting there eating your peanuts.
It's like,
it's just,
if you grew up in the 80s and the 90s like that, like it's just it was an experience, right?
Exactly. Like you just went as a family, like our whole family would go, my nieces and nephews and sister. And I mean, we just all go and you make a day of it. And you go and, there's always pregame things, there's always like concerts and stuff like outside the stadium. And it's just it becomes a whole, like, it's just,
I just remember going to baseball games and my back hurting sitting in those chairs. Like, that was it. So
see, we can go like in August at 1:00 in the afternoon, and it's 100 degrees outside, and you're just there for the experience. And it's just like the walk-offs and it's just amazing.
I'm gonna I grabbed my water really quickly because we still got a few minutes. I gotta grab one more thing, guys, and then keep talking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I was just about to get in touch with Chris and make sure he remembers he's supposed to be here. That was be a good thing.
I thought this started at like 10:30, Julian.
No, it starts at 10.
Oh, well, 10 o'clock, what time? Or what time zone? Central.
Central time. So 11 o'clock.
Oh, I thought I was late because I just got out of a meeting.
No, it is.
So you're on time, and you guys don't know this, but Richard Kreiser is joining us right now. I've known Richard longer than I've known my family. I mean, I've known Richard for years. I'm waiting for him to come on. I think I met him when I was a contractor for Raytheon before the
wow.
crash. I worked with him. That was really one of my first mortgage experiences, was working with Richard. Hey, Richard, how are you?
Hey, how are you, Julian?
Good, buddy. I don't see you on face. I don't see your camera, but if you can't, you can't. It's fine. But
Should be. No, I've got a camera. One second.
but I've known Richard. I was a Raytheon. I was a consultant, and then they asked me to come in as a trainer to train mortgage, and I knew little about mortgage at the time. I mean, I had a house, but I had to learn mortgage. And I think, Richard, you worked for GE. Was it GE?
GE, General Electric.
GE Home Mortgage. And I remember working for GE, and there was a guy that ran the company, Richard. I forgot his name, but he came to me. And he came to me, he goes, Julian, I need you to help me with something. I need to know, I keep hearing this thing called basis points. What are they talking about when they say basis points? And I was like, oh my gosh. And that was the experience of a lot of leaders are promoted not because of their knowledge, but because of their track record and relationship with people in the business. And that was a wake-up call right there. And then we have Joanne. Hey, Joanne, good morning. Jojo? Okay.
Sorry, I can't seem to make my video work, so I apologize.
That's all right.
There I got my sound on. Good morning. How are y'all?
Good morning. I got Joanne and so Joanne, I was just talking about, I got Terry here, I got you. Now I've worked with Terry and Joanne Richard at EPM. Just recently, I met both of them at that company. I've known Delilah. Delilah will tell you she chased me down the hallway when I did a seminar. That's how I know her. I thought she was going to stab me with a butter knife, but she didn't.
I did. I literally chased him. I really did.
Literally. So yeah. And so, but I would say really, Richard, it's really good to see you. I know you, are you back in Arizona? You moved away from?
I am. Yeah, okay. I'm in Arizona. I came back. It took me about a month to move off island, and actually one of the you're going to see a Sylvia Paris on there, and she was with me in St. Croix. She actually still lives there, so she'll be on this call as well too. So you're going to get a little bit of extended family, right? Mortgage family.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've known you guys the longest. Well, you guys had me interested in moving out there. I was like, dude, that's the place to go. I thought,
I will tell you.
I apologize. There's something, does anybody hear that like noise, or is it?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe somebody's cell phone was ringing or something. I apologize. Go ahead.
It could be a ceiling fan. It could be something as simple as that, or neighbors doing their lawn, who knows.
Here it goes again. Terry,
is that you? Put your arm.
I don't hear anything.
Of course you're not.
Okay.
It's like my kids now. They say the same thing.
It is very much a beautiful place. So just if you ever want to chat, Julian, just give me a call. I'll be back there probably every year to visit and see friends and do a bunch of scuba diving and sailing and stuff like that. It's
we're empty nesters, so it's like, hey, we can do anything we want right now. So I literally, just so you know, Joanne, it's really cool. I talked to a friend yesterday. He rented out his house, him and his wife. They took equity out. Here's what's crazy. They actually bought a camper, and now they're just living across the country.
Yeah, that's a thing.
They work remotely, and they go to these campsites where you can pay for internet service or whatever, and they do their jobs, and I thought that was pretty tripped out. Like, wow. So they bought a beautiful camper, but they're like off the grid.
Yep. That's a thing.
So, that's a thing. So anyway, we're going to start in a minute. Have you talked to Chris? Have you talked to Chris?
Let me text him right now. Give me 1 second.
All right. So we're going to spend about 7 hours together. So I hope you guys got water.
No.
I'm kidding. Joanne, I saw your message. I will reach out to you after this. Okay. I'll tell you what's going on once this is done. I'm still waiting for a phone call. I just got an email this morning, but I hadn't responded yet. So I'll let you know. Okay. Joanne. Okay. She's still there. Terry, how's the weather in Florida?
Where can you guys still see me?
Yep.
Where did oh, there it goes. Okay. Sorry, I went away for a second. Okay.
The weather is hot and beautiful in Florida.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's gorgeous, but it's hot.
It is.
Real hot.
I just
It
left
is.
Arizona and it was
is.
115, Richard. So I don't know how you deal with that. My mother's trying to get us to move there. I'm like, I'm sorry, it won't happen.
Arizona is nice.
Yeah, it was 75
It's a
yesterday
dry.
morning.
It's a dry heat.
Whatever.
That's what I was about to say. Isn't it like dead? Oh, there's Chris. Hey.
It's not
Chris.
Florida heat. It's not Florida heat.
I prefer
Like-
Florida heat over dry heat. Dry heat's like
Florida-
a stinging burn. It's just a
This-
sting.
No, this
Yeah.
is like heavy. Like it's 84 right now, but feels like 91.
Yeah, it's Florida's that humid where you can't like do
Heavy
air, like you can't. I look like,
rainforest.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
Richard can explain the Arizona heat, but I'm gonna tell you right now, my mother's car she couldn't open the car door. She couldn't get her phone to work. She couldn't get her radio to work. It was so hot. It was so hot. Everything just heated up and didn't work. That's how hot it is out there.
Well,
Wow.
Delilah, I'm like you. I have to put my hair up in a bun or a ponytail almost every day because otherwise it's like a lion.
So just so
No,
you know, Chris, where are you located right now? You're in
I'm in Berlin
Berlin, Germany.
for Germany.
How's your
yeah.
weather?
so
It's
Chris-
actually really nice now. It was really hot like the past week in Europe, and finally we got some relief. So I'm extremely thankful for that. When I first got here, I was like, "Oh, it's cold," and I'm like, "I'll take it," compared to what it was. They do not have air conditioning here.
I know they do.
Really?
they don't really. That's
Nope.
No,
Wow.
no, usually they don't need it. So yeah,
That's the same in California normally, but that's just
Could
crazy.
you
there.
imagine going without heat down here, Delilah? Or
So,
without air
Well,
conditioning?
we're going to start in a few minutes. We got a few more minutes before we start. I know there's some other people just reached out to me. They're actually, it's interesting how there's meetings, message. Okay. Okay. Cynthia says she's coming. Okay. Who's the person you were talking about, Richard? As you take a drink, I'll ask you a question.
Sylvia Paris. I saw her on the
Oh
invite.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
Mhm, mhm. Yep.
Okay.
So she's still looking as well. So she was part of the riff, I guess, so to speak. I
Yeah.
should say.
Yeah. So the USAA is in Florida too, Richard. Do you know that? Do you have an
I
office?
do know that.
Mhm.
They're
Yes,
right over here in Tampa.
Guess who was the first one to open the mortgage business there?
You?
Yes, I launched it. I literally was the first. I trained the actual very first loan officers, and then went out and helped set up fulfillment.
Mhm. Well, I launched the one here in Arizona, in Texas, but it's gone. I drive by there now. The whole sign's gone in Addison. They took it down. I guess they.
Yeah, it is. It is. I don't know if the financial portion's there, but yeah, that was
That was it.
big part of it.
I was actually offered a position with them after the 2008 crash
Oh, really?
over here. Yeah, but I lived in West Chase on the west side of Tampa.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you'll learn if you come down here that Florida did not, especially the Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater area, did not build the road systems for the expansion of people.
Yeah.
And even though it was only 11 miles, it took me an hour and a half to get there.
Yeah. That's everywhere. It seems like, especially like
So
Austin. Yeah, big
there's
cities and all
no
that stuff.
highways. It's
Yeah.
stoplight after stoplight after stoplight. And the stoplights down here, and it's
Mhm.
probably this way in Orlando too, are about 4 minutes long. Every
Yeah.
stoplight is.
Wow.
And so it was like I wasn't going to move to East Tampa because if you're moving to Florida, there's no reason not to live close
Yeah.
to the water.
Well, we're going to get started now because I think we can, just so those who have joined us, we've been talking about everything under the sun. I see old friends. I was bringing up Richard Kreitzer. Richard, I've known for years. My first consulting job was with a company called GE Home Financial, and Richard worked there. That was like 25 years ago or 20 something. It's like,
Yeah, it feels like it. I think it's closer to. I think
Yeah.
it's 18 or 19. Yeah,
yeah,
we were
long
young
time-
back then.
Yeah, long
But
time
you haven't
ago.
aged a bit.
I had a great time there, and I see Richard still. And so, guys, basically, I want to thank you guys for being present and just being a part of this right now. Just so you know, the purpose for this is really to come together because in every crisis, there's an opportunity, right? So I realize that in the mix of everything that's happening in the mortgage industry, and most of us are in the mortgage industry, in the mix of that, I've seen a continual trend in our industry where the market dictates our value of the mass employees we have. And then what happens is we look to streamline our processes because of the need. And then we have companies will hire, or I should say, bring on a bunch of different products, like apps or vendors, and sometimes they duplicate themselves. They'll have different departments that have the same exact product but called something different, and they're pay for it on a regular basis without really counting their costs. Then when the system crashes, or say the need happens where they need to streamline, the people get hurt, and then they stop, using some of these products that they have. But we're kicked to the curb. I hate to use such vernacular, but that's the truth. We're kind of let go. And then when things pick up, we give you all these great products. Like, come on, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. We need you, you're value to the company. And then system happens again, and the whole reverberation of the same boomerang, and we get hit in the head again. And we wonder, is it me? And it's not us, but we need to realize that there's a thing we can do, and that is really come together as a group and understand some of the nuances that maybe we might be missing, and some of the things that we should be thinking about. And we find strength in numbers. Together we find the power, and we're able to think outside the box. One of the first things I did when I became my own business person was I got involved in an inner circle, and that inner circle changed my life. It literally changed my life to understand that the way I think is not going to get me to the next destination. I have to change my thinking by being around people that think differently than me. And so I want us to come together and think about those things and see what ideas come to mind, what things you can think about, and how is it that we can come together to come up with resources and actually help each other for the next phase of our lives. Now, some of you are already working still, you're still in a company, and that's fine. But I know a lot of people that are still working are fear of, is it today? Is it today? Is it today? Right? So, and just so you know, when you have that fear into your head, in your mind, you can't think rationally. So my focus is to help you guys get your mindset straight, and to kind of help you understand where you're habitually reacting to things versus taking a step back and learning how to almost learn martial arts, if you will, learn how to instinctively apply skills that are going to help you versus hurt you. So that's what I'm going to do. But I brought in Chris Ware. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you
I brought in
all.
Delilah. And you guys know Delilah Ramos. If anybody doesn't know Delilah, I don't know how you don't. She's like out there always, everywhere, eating tacos. Even the other day, she ate a fake taco and was sad about the death of it. And I just realized I was supposed to wear black and I didn't. Sorry.
It's a real thing. The Choco Taco is real. Okay.
Yeah, I got you. So
I saw you on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So with that said, you guys, I am going to ask you guys to, I wouldn't mind you sharing your face if you can. I think here's the thing. We've gotten so conditioned in this new world of Zooms and Teams and virtual that you all look about an inch tall to me. And so when I meet you, I'm like, oh, you're taller than I thought, which is really cool. But the thing is, showing your face will show engagement. And you can't multitask, by the way. There's no such thing as multitask. I want you guys to literally look at the people that you're dealing with, working with, talking to, and really come together with like, hey, I know that person. Should I know that person? Start thinking about those instincts that come up, because I think networking is a big part of our business. So with that said, I'm going to start with, and you got Sandy here. Hey, Sandy's here. So everybody knows Sandy Sado. This is Sandy Sado, my wife. She's going to be with us as well. She does a lot in the business as well. But I'm going to have you guys work with Delilah first, because I want Delilah to talk about what she's seeing in the market. And also feel free to ask questions. Please put yourself on mute. And then if you can, go ahead and take yourself off mute to ask a question, and if you can show your face, do the same thing. Okay. And Hoon, I didn't know you were going to be here. Hey, Hoon, how you doing, sir? All right. So with that said, where did Delilah go? Did we lose Delilah? Did she just hang up? I can't believe it. That is just wrong and rude. Okay. We're going to start with Chris then. So Chris, if you can do me a favor, I mean, you guys, Chris Ware does a lot of videos. He has a lot of contracts in our industry. If you guys, I won't name some, I'll let him do that, but he literally works with our industry developing some video content and making them pretty and stuff. So Chris, would you give us some ideas of what you think as people should we be doing when we're trying to get ourselves out there from a video perspective?
Sure. Yeah. So I've been making videos, and Delilah has as well. And I know a number of you guys have all made videos. I've been doing it for going on 3 years on LinkedIn, and I've been in video production for about 16 years. So I have just experienced firsthand the power of it through B2B networking. And so I really advocate it for people at a lot of different levels, business owners especially, but even individuals I have seen. Well, I mean, Delilah is probably one of the best examples of that, of somebody who's built a brand to build a brand and now has turned it into your own business. And so we've collaborated, we've talked a lot. And for me personally, the biggest surprise in creating videos for my business was not that it has built clients up, which I expected it to, but it has built the right clients. So now the work that I do, people have already decided that they like me because of my personality, as well as because I know what I'm talking about. And that just makes a really great working relationship. So I advocate for video for those two main reasons. A, it can fulfill your career, but B, it can fulfill it in a way that is exciting and makes you want to work with these people and want to do more for them. And basically what I consider it is networking at scale. And this was like never more true than in the pandemic when we were all stuck at home. This became kind of the only way to network was through video. And obviously video calls, everyone's gotten very comfortable with. People are still very uncomfortable with recording themselves and getting their thoughts out there. But it really is the difference between going to a networking meeting, you're going to meet 6 people, you put out a video, especially on LinkedIn, where you get a really great organic reach and you get seen by 600 people. And when you look at the metrics of your videos and go, holy cow, I made a 1-minute video that was seen for, if you look at the runtime, it was seen for like an hour or 2 worth of people watching it. So that kind of presence that you can build for yourself over time really can establish yourself as a face that everybody knows, as somebody who knows what they're talking about. And that's the last thing I'll probably say about it, is that we're all experts, and oftentimes we undervalue our expertise and our knowledge. And if you literally just talk about the things that you know, that you have to be passionate about it too. You can't it can't be like the most boring stuff. But if you're passionate about even the boring stuff, if you're passionate about it, you really believe it has value to have a discussion. If you just talk about that, people listen, people pay attention.
Can I interject on that? I'm going to ask you a question, Chris.
Yeah.
When you say passionate about that, here's my question, because I know there's some people here that are underwriters, underwriting managers, closers, those types of things. I mean, are you saying we should be talking about the passion of closing, underwriting, or should we be talking about passions like puppies? I mean, what do you mean by passion?
Both, really. Like, you're trying to build know, like, and trust. And people get to know and like you based upon what the common interest is. So, Julian, I know you as somebody who knows a lot about growth, self-development, self-improvement, now fitness. I didn't even really realize that until this year because you put out that video of that excerpt. But I also know you as a real estate and mortgage professional. And so the more I know about the different facets of your personality, the easier it is for, maybe I can't hire you, maybe I can't work with you, but I could certainly more easily introduce you. So if you pick a couple of things that are interesting to you, are fun to you, that you really can't talk about enough, and talk about those a bit, and then also talk about your profession, people start to get to know you as the former fitness person who's now, a mortgage leader. So
well, interesting enough, Chris, you have a good point there, is that I am always find it fascinating that we have sales leaders out there doing videos. I hardly ever see an underwriter out there doing a video, or even a closer or a title person doing videos. You might see a realtor, which is like, it's almost like obvious they're out there because they're trying to get seen, because they want to get business and they're trying to leverage their personality, which is their salespeople, or I would say right brain thinkers are very, conversationalists are out there. But the people that are like right now, we have a lot of people that aren't necessarily focused on that, but that's a door. That, to me, that's an opportunity for an underwriter to get out there and speak about CalHFA loans, or to speak about you know, I don't know, renovation loans or whatever they've seen that some of the hiccups that slow it down. I mean, to me, you guys doing a video, even if you're uncomfortable, do you think they should like acknowledge that they're uncomfortable doing it, but I want you to know ... Is that a good place to go with videos? Should you share the discomfort you have?
Yeah, I mean, you want to be honest. Obviously, it's a little tricky in a business setting because you want to present yourself professionally. You don't want to have the wrong look to what you're putting out. So it is a little bit, can feel like higher stakes.
Yeah.
But I really, make the analogy between this and public speaking. 20, 30 years ago, if you wanted to rise up in corporate America, you needed to be able to talk in front of a group. And everyone's always been terrified of talking in front of a group. Now that just comes like, of course you need to be able to talk in front of a group. The next stage really is being able to talk well on video, because I use this all the time internally with my team. Instead of making a meeting, I say, hey, can you just guys make a video for me? Just recap the meeting in a video, or I'll do it the same for them. I'll give them revisions that way. I now have clients that do the same thing. And so just the act of getting comfortable on camera, recording yourself, talking to somebody who's not there is a skill, and it can be uncomfortable. And there's nothing wrong with being honest and being like, this is my first video, I feel weird. And when I first started doing it, I was recording from home, and that felt weird. Now I'm traveling and I do a lot of my recording like on the street. I'll just be walking down the street in the middle of some city. And when I first did that, I was like, wait, am I one of these people now? But now it's just normal, now I just do it, and Delilah, you probably can speak to the same thing there.
Yeah. Well, interesting enough, before Delilah speaks, I want to ask you a couple of questions. And you guys, I want you to ask Chris questions. Feel free to take yourself off mute if you have questions. But I have a question. What you just said, Chris, is that, doing videos, like you said, I don't prefer to do them myself. I'm by myself. I feel the energy difference between when I'm talking just in an office alone to when I'm speaking to a group on a stage. I completely feel, I don't even think about how I feel when I'm on stage, but when I'm in this office, I literally mumble, shut down. I would take 1,000 takes. I'm like, I forget it. Right. So what would you say should somebody do to kind of get out of that discomfort? Like, what are some of the tricks to push yourself past that discomfort?
For me, I just have to commit. I just have to say, I'm going to put out a video a week, come hell or high water. And if that video is garbage, it's going out. Like, it's got to go out.
Yep.
And I'm very much of that mindset where it's like, if I set myself to a goal, I'm going to do it. And the other thing is too, is that I think there's this misnomer around like, oh, I got to do this and build a website and make my presence in social media and be on TikTok, all this stuff. And I got to do it forever. You don't really. There's really no harm in saying, hey, I'm going to do a video a week for a month or for 2 months. And I'm going to track and see what the results are from that. And see if I want to continue with that. But I really do advocate it for at least learning the skill at the very minimum. But what I have found from the people who do start it and do commit to it is it does become a little bit of an addiction, because you do start to build relationships like this. And then you're like, well, I'm not going to stop now. I mean, we're doing more Facebook ads now. We're doing more things on YouTube, but I'm probably never going to stop putting out videos on LinkedIn, just because of the networking side of it and the clients that I've built from it. So
and I'm gonna lobby this over to Delilah, and Chris, I'm gonna come back to you. But Delilah, I want you to bring up what you do, because you do a lot of video. And I would say, no, with all respect towards Chris, I don't think you do a lot of editing or splicing. You just kind of use your phone, and you've built an empire of Taco Tuesdays with a iPhone, right? So I guess why don't you share a little bit about from what you do a little bit first, like what your business is and how you ended up becoming a known person within our industry.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks, Julian. You're absolutely right. I use my iPhone pretty much for everything because it's great quality, right? And I can carry it with me because I travel. One of the reasons why I use just my iPhone, because and I only do one take typically. So on Taco Tuesdays, and now I started something recently called Friday Finds. I do only one take, and nothing is really ever scripted. It's rare that it's scripted. Even when I have guests, Chris, you've been on, Julian, you've been on it. You guys are walking testimonies that we just hit the record and boom, we start talking, right, gentlemen? And some of the best content and videos has come from just turning on, pressing that button and turning it on, because it's the most real you can get. And that's one of the things that I really pride myself and my organization and my company is I'm very transparent. This is who I am. I mean, Terry, you know that now I'm from Chicago. I'm a Cubs fan. I want you to really see who I am. And it's important to me. I want you to know that I'm flawed, that I'm imperfect, right? And because then I don't have to, when you are constantly having to edit and fix and correct, to me, in my head, this is just me, you guys, it then becomes a lie, and I can never keep up with the lie. And I just don't, that's just how I work.
That was powerful. I mean, that's powerful because I think what you do differently is that you're very authentic and genuine, where you don't try to be something that you're not, right? And so there's a lot of splicing and a lot of editing, which is nothing wrong with it, but I think a lot of posturing in not just our industry, but as a whole in the market. I mean, YouTube algorithms and all the things we're trying to do is all trying to hook you. And they, like Chris knows, I'm focused on the brain and the mind and how the subconscious works. And we're all focused on, we don't realize how our subconscious draws us to things. And there's a lot of people that do know that, and they use the tricks to do it. And so breaking away from our own self-thinking is going to be really hard to do unless we are conscious of it. So to your point, Delilah, you have a blind eye to that world, and you just focus on being you. And I think that's what's one part of your success, which is great. I'm going to ask you guys to have some questions quickly, but if you do, let me know you do. But I also want, Delilah, I want you to talk about the recruiting, because now you're doing a lot of recruiting and you're doing it on your own. I want you to share, what do you see is the things that a lot of people are, just give me 1 or 3 things that people are doing wrong to get noticed, and what are they doing right to get noticed?
Okay, so some of the things, we'll start with what they're doing right? What they're doing right. Well, what they're doing wrong. Let me start there.
Okay.
So they have, the number one thing I'm seeing is they never added value to their mortgage belt. I call it a mortgage belt. They've only worked one channel and I'm saying this, you guys, with all love, because I know some of the people here, okay? They've only done one channel, one section of mortgage, and never dabbled into anything else, and now they're stuck. So they've only done operations the last 20 years. That is it. That's all they've done. They've never dipped into sales. They've never dipped into wholesale, marketing, business, nothing. And now that operation piece, I'm gonna be real, you guys, it's gonna go away a lot because of AI. It's gonna be automated. So that is something I'm seeing people are doing wrong. They just want to stay in their lane and do only what they know. They're not embracing social media and marketing. The way that people are absorbing, I'm a Gen Xer, we're the last generation that still absorbs information, old school way, telephone, mail. I like flyers. I know I'm weird. I do. I like to go to the mailbox, right? We're the last generation. Every generation behind us is absorbing information differently. You guys have to change it up, how you absorb it and then how you deliver it. And it's social media, it's YouTube, I'm sorry. So you're going to have to get on, and that's how you're going to network. You're going to build your business, your relationship. And if you haven't started, you're behind.
Hey, let me ask you a question. That was one thing.
Yeah.
I really haven't, I'm going to say this privately to all of you. I have a struggle with that. And here's my thing is everybody's saying the same thing, as if, and here's my problem with this. It's like, how can you separate yourself from everybody else saying the exact same thing? And I did a TikTok and I took it off because it sounded really negative to your point. I was overthinking it, Chris. I think there's another word out there we're not really thinking about, which is this concept of narcissism, where we find people find knowledge, but they spend 5 minutes in that knowledge by watching a 3-minute segment of it, and then they duplicate it as if they're the guru of that knowledge. And I get insulted because I read the books and I hear people that, heard a 3-minute segment and all of a sudden they duplicate it. And now they're trying to become the guru for that business or that subject and trying to get people to follow them just for the purpose of saying I have followers and now I can monetize. People don't realize YouTube is a great monetization. If you can get enough people to follow you and get enough people under your YouTube channel, it's a great monetization, but it's also a business model on how to capture those people. And I get offended by that when people try to capture me. Does that make sense? Like people message me all the time trying to befriend me, but they don't really know me. I also have a struggle with the concept of people utilizing other companies to represent themselves as if it's them. And that's where another struggle I have is like, you'll have somebody write your post for you and you didn't do any of it. And to me, that it takes away the genuinity. And it also, to me, it's putting us in a bad light because we're trying to quickly get as many people as possible, but you diffuse the greatness of what you have to offer by trying to affect the masses versus just focusing on those few. So where do you find the balance in that? Because I think you hit on something, you've done it well, but what would you say to somebody that has like, I don't want to try to compete with all the so-called gurus out there. I want to compete with just what's in front of me. What would you say to them that's dealing with that?
Is this me, Julian?
Yeah.
Consistency.
Okay.
Consistency is my number one key, right? I'm consistent with my messaging. I'm consistent with my delivery. I'm consistent every Tuesday. As long as the good Lord gives me breath, you will know that I'll be eating tacos somewhere, right? Somewhere in the country, maybe out of the country, I will be eating tacos. It's consistency. And eventually people will catch on and will listen to, they're going to have to listen to your messaging. Okay, who is this person? She keeps popping up on I've never met Terry before, but I'm sure I popped up on your news feed somehow, somewhere.
Yeah, she said she saw your video. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. And so it is, to me, it's consistency. And I understand what you're talking about. Like all my support is organic. My numbers are not the greatest or not the highest, but they're organic. And I try to engage with everyone as I possibly can.
Yeah. So what about the people looking for a job right now? Are you saying that they should be doing, be consistent with a video about things? Chris, you're saying the same thing. Everyone on this call right now should be doing videos?
I mean, at the end of the day, not everything is going to be for everybody. I don't like Twitter. I've been on Twitter,
right.
Looked at it, written a handful of tweets. I don't get it. It's too much noise. I don't understand the culture. I don't like it. But I would say that it is very worth learning some video, playing with some video, putting it out there and seeing what the reactions are before you rule something yes or no.
Yeah.
And to me, obviously, because I'm a video professional, I know all the benefits of it and I espouse the benefits of it all the time. So I'm like, yeah, of course you should. But it may just not be your medium. And so maybe you don't need to do it. You could write articles on LinkedIn. You could write other things. You could do a podcast. But for me, as far as what you're talking about, like use of your time, being authentic, and having the highest impact of relatability to people, video does all those things the best. And for me, I really like it because I batch my recordings together. Delilah does hers each week. She's at a different location. She's talking to a different person. I usually batch my recordings together. So I'm recording 2 or 3 videos in a day. And then basically all of my content for the month is done.
Yeah, I've heard that's a good rule of thumb. You just kind of patch it all together so you don't have to feel the stress of having to do it again. You have some resources you can just post out there, which is actually a good thing. So now, any questions? I know I've been talking a lot, and you guys, you can take yourself off mute. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask Delilah or Chris.
Yes, I'm Tina, and I have a question for Delilah or Chris with the video experts here. If you are a candidate looking for a job, what will your videos be about? Or I'm sorry, when you say I keep on making videos, what are your videos about regarding your company? But if you're a candidate looking for a job, what will your videos be about? And how would you go? I mean, I'm pretty much familiar with all of the social media, you know, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, et cetera, but you know, I've never done a video, you know, advertising myself. Not a bad idea. I was just getting some ideas from you guys.
Chris, do you want to?
I mean, yeah, I can talk, and then if you want to, you know, add your thoughts.
Yeah.
Again, I would start with, what do you care about? So I talk a lot about in my videos, like how to make videos. I give like tips on like how to do them. But then I also just find certain things that I know my audience is going to care about, and I talk about those because I'm actually passionate about it. So I'm kind of a technology nerd. I'm kind of an efficiency nerd. I think my video tomorrow is going to be about some of the favorite apps that I like to use for keeping my business running efficiently. The key is to really think about your audience, and you do really need to think about people in your network. So when you put out your first video and you get 5 or 6 people that comment and go like, holy cow, I didn't know you're doing videos, you know, I'm excited for you. You want to think about like, what do these people actually care about? How can I help them as well with the knowledge that I have? So, and sometimes that is just getting a discussion going. It is just talking about like, hey, I know the mortgage industry is really hurting in this way. I know this particular kinds of mortgages are not selling the way that they used to. I actually don't have the solution, but I would love to hear from my network. What are your thoughts?
And I think,
and just trying to get a discussion going.
Dina is saying, I'm going to make some tacos.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make some tacos. You guys can watch me make some tacos. Hey, I wonder what Delilah feels about these tacos. Delilah, why don't you come out here and taste my taco?
Yeah, I mean, I actually wanted to, I'll give you some, I had a conversation with someone yesterday who she requested some time for me because she currently has a job, but she's looking at other avenues and she just wanted some advice. And so I'm going to just really quickly go over some of the things I told her that you can do right after this call that will get you noticed right away.
And that's what I'm looking for, yeah.
Yeah. Number 1, I need you to update your LinkedIn. Make sure all the information is updated. Make sure your email is correct, your phone number. You know how many times I call people and it's the wrong phone number, or I pick up the phone and I call still. Clean your inbox. For the grace of God, clean your inbox. If I go to your voicemail and it says I can't leave a message, I will never call you back. Do you know that? And I'm calling you for a job.
Interesting.
That is some straight, I don't think I've ever said that ever, but it's some straight truth.
You did that to me.
That's good. You're like, good inside information, yes.
Yeah. Clean your inbox. Leave a message. Leave a message. Hey, this is Jill. You know, thank you for calling. I'll reach out to you in just a few. Leave your name and number, please. Like, leave a message. Going back to LinkedIn, make sure all the information is correct. Make sure there's a picture of you, professional, or just of you, right? I don't want your kid. I don't want to see your ugly kid in the picture. I don't want to do that. Okay. Serious. I don't see your spouse. I want to see nothing.
That's funny. Just like, and you know, I will call you back.
Serious.
Yeah.
I'm really serious, you
But,
guys.
you bring up a great point on LinkedIn. Let me just infuse on that. You know, I would say to anyone, if you don't have LinkedIn Premium, it'd be a good time to do it for one reason. One reason I say, if you're looking for a job, invest in it for a month at least. I think you get a free trial for a month. Take advantage of that. because you can also see the hiring managers on jobs, and you can actually you can actually send them a message personally that you applied for the job. And you can also look at people that work there. You find people that you're connected with, and if you're not connected with them, reach out and try to connect with them so you can use them as a reference. It's a very important part. So use them as a referral to that job. Another thing that I've seen has been really helpful in that whole LinkedIn space is literally when you see people starting new jobs, like I know Ken just got a new job, right? I reached out to Ken, congratulations, Ken. Hey, and I talked to him about what I'm looking to do, or he'd be a perfect person to say, hey, I just started with his manager and say, hey, I have a friend who's looking for work. Can I refer him to you? Those are doorways that are like introductions, where you become more personal than just paper. And I say, take advantage of that, because those are really important tricks in the business. And I don't think we did it enough as a salespeople. We didn't do it enough. When people have anniversaries, birthdays, new jobs, take advantage of that and recognize that happened for them and reach out to them, because that creates gives you some value to them.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue a little forward. Make, apart from the LinkedIn, have a resume, like an updated resume, and it's okay to hire someone to do it for you. I do not know how to do old school resumes. I hired someone, someone younger than me, to get me like a nice resume, like a deck page about myself. And make sure you invest in something like that. It will stick out. So, and you can add that on to your LinkedIn, by the way. Your resume, if you have one, stick it on your LinkedIn. Make sure that open to button is open to.
Yeah.
Don't close that, like open to. And also under, I'm actually looking on mine so I can, under your name, talk about, I'm passionate about underwriting. I am an ambassador for FHA, USDA, Govy loans, let them know about your certifications, anything that you have. Please put everything on there, because that's also a walking testimony. And then back to Julian, it is free for a month, and I think it's like $30. It's well worth the $30, you guys, to get that premium. You'll get a few inboxes where you can message them, and it'll give you like who's hiring. It'll even send you messages. Hey, this person's hiring. This company's hiring, and it'll show your face with that company's logo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm already getting those type of things.
Yeah.
But that's a good idea to invest in it. I mean, I've gotten a few requests to see if I wanted to, spend, get a free month's trial, like Julian was saying, and then continue with it. And I wondered if it was worth it, but now you've reiterated what
it is. It is.
Absolutely what.
And then last thing I will tell you, do a video introduction and send it via, Chris, what do you think? Like 30 seconds, hey, this is Lorraine. I just applied to your strategic partnership position. I would really appreciate some time and some consideration. If you have some questions, boom, 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 send it. Anyone that does that, I will respond and call, because the fact that they took 30 seconds to create that, to me, is like, you're a badass.
You can do it on LinkedIn, include a video.
You can, you don't have to, you can do it on your iPhone, and then you can just attach it in a message. And it is, I'm telling you, even if you get their phone number in a text them a little intro. Anybody that does that gets a call and a response from me pretty quickly. Just the fact that they did that.
You put in a face to a resume.
Yeah. Like, hey,
to Delilah's point, we're very focused on a very stale, static interaction. So to do something like that does stand out. I remember just recently, Delilah, I interviewed a bunch of new kids, I would say Gen Z, for an internship program with the company. And there's one person that stood out. And to this day, I wish I kept his resume, because I would find him right now and have him work with me, because he was just, he did exactly that. He took the extra step. How many people right now are looking for jobs in our industry? Thousands. So if you're an underwriter or a processor or closers, or I would say LOs are kind of, and I'm going to speak to this because I don't know, I know there's some salespeople on here too. We all tend to do the exact same thing, thinking it's going to change, it's going to get us somewhere. And at the same time, it makes us feel low when we're not getting anywhere, but we keep doing the same thing. So the goal is kind of like the Pursuit of Happiness kind of thing. Do you remember Will Smith's movie? Not The Slap, but the movie where he was Pursuit of Happiness, where he paid attention to how many people were on the phone and how one person would hang up and go get a drink of water. And one person, he says, I'm going to save time by not doing ... We got to do the same thing. You got to look and say, what is it that other people aren't doing that I can do that's going to make it a difference for me, right? And that's the key. And that, to Delilah's point, I don't know about a video for every company, but if you find one that you really, really want that role, to invest in it. I would definitely invest in that time and take opportunities.
And who do you send the video to? Directly to the manager?
Yeah, like to the hiring manager. You can, especially if it's a technology company, if it's that will show like so much, that'll show so much power, because it shows them that you're embracing technology and that you're different. And yeah, I would send that either to the hiring manager or to the recruiter, anything talent acquisition, I would send it.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, here's the challenge we're faced with. And I speak on the brain. Most of the people that are reaching out to you or you're sending in resumes to, they're data capturing. They're looking for a particular thing. They're not looking at you. They're looking to see if you fit a particular box that they need to fill. You're just a widget for them. So the goal is to kind of shake up that widget mind. They become zombie-like, right? They're just kind of looking, and they'll pass you on or capture your information, and then they'll set up a first interview. That first interview sometimes is linked through a Zoom, or it could be just a phone call. Either way, you treat it as gold. You treat it as gold, and you do everything you can to make sure you stand out and don't go into this world of I need, but you deserve to have me. Yeah, you really want me, right? The last person I hired, that woman sold herself. She was like, you need me. And I was like, whoa, blew me away, because no one ever talked that kind of confidently to me. And I think it goes back to, well, maybe I do need her, so definitely stand out a little bit.
It's like making a boom on a first impression.
Yeah, exactly.
First impression of yourself is
so first impressions are always going to be built off of how you think about yourself at the time. So going back to, if you're feeling low right now, I would tell people, my little caveat, Sandy would tell you, I always say, hey, go watch a Rocky movie, get inspired, take a 9 count if you have to, feel bad, and then get back in the game, right? And when you get back in the game, you got to do whatever it takes to make yourself feel good. I even suggest get job offers for jobs you don't want. Like if you have to go get a job offer from like a grocery store down the street, so be it. You want to feel like people want you. So when you're talking, you feel wanted. Don't feel like you're in need, right? There's a difference, because people pick up.
Okay, so it builds up your confidence level.
100%. And practice, right? So that's a good thing to know. So okay. I wanted to say something to the salespeople out there real quick. I'm going to say this to any AEs out there. You're going to get hired on because companies are wanting to leverage their lack of loans on you. They want to make sure, if I can bring enough people to the forefront, I can get some loans in my pipeline. And then you're at the mercy of you're calling every broker, along with the other 1,000 brokers out there, or AEs trying to do the same. Look, I promise you, there's things you can do that separate you. And it goes back to what we just said. Think about what's not being done. And I would tell you, Richard Kreitzer knows me. When I was contracting, I then started working with Wells Fargo, and this is before you had to get an MLS license. But I outproduced some of the salespeople there by doing one thing. And instead of trying to get business, I brought them business. So I would say AEs, if you start looking at how to bring people to them versus calling them saying, what do you have for me? Changes the game. It changes the game 100%. And I have some techniques for you to do that. There's 1,000 ways out there for you right now that most of us, I would say, in the AE world aren't even looking at, and they're right in front of you. And I won't even say it now, because then I'll be giving away my business. But if you want me to talk to you about it, I will, but privately. But it goes for only those salespeople, but it's right in front of you, and it's for the taking. So think differently and be bigger than that, and don't be like everybody else. So any other questions for Chris or Delilah? And thank you, Dina, for asking a question. Appreciate you. That's bold. See, you did your first video.
Yeah. And you guys, birds of a feather flock together. So people will always tell you where they're going, like where they're going to be at. If you see that a hiring manager or a specific company is going to be somewhere in your, in your area, show up. I mean, go to the event, go to the conference and show up. There are times, again, here's some real stuff. There's times I'll go to a conference. I have there's no agenda for me. A client did not bring me none of that, right? But I showed up because the people who could be potential clients for me will be there. And I want to be in their space. I want them to see me. I will show up. I will crash a conference. I'm not going to lie. I have no shame. I will, just like I've crashed weddings before.
Hey, I did that in LA all the time. Hollywood Hills, we go there and crash.
Like,
Who are you friends with, John?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm telling you, there are events, always our industry is very networky. That's not a word, but there's events. Show up, you guys, show up. If anything, you can make a connection, and there's always food.
So let me talk about that too. There's another thing. I started, this opportunity, this situation happened. I've reached out to so many brokers and offered my services for free. And it helps a lot. I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of them have needs. I'm not saying they won't pay you, but at the same time, it's like, hey, I know you're, here's some things I can do for you while things are, while you're struggling. If you need help, I'm free. Yeah. Let me know if you need me. You'd be surprised how easy that creates an alliance, and they keep you in mind. And this is going to change, you guys. It always does. It's going to revert back. But what we're doing is we're waiting for somebody to offer us something by waiting in a chair in our own waiting for that. But you can go out and request, people. Say, look, I know things are tight right now. If you need help with something, I can do it. And that's kind of like how me and Delilah and Chris got together, like being a service for people without actually saying, this is what we're requiring this from you, knowing that you have a need. So, that alone is remembered, and that creates value, because you want to make sure that you're not just looking to get something, you want to give. And that's going to be the best opportunity right now, is to give to people. Like Richard's experience in his industry, and this industry is enormous. He could give so much wealth of knowledge on just process flow and systems and operations. And there's a difference between call centers and brokers and wholesale shops, but where the best practices between those, that's what we bring to the table, right? So you leverage the knowledge you have and go out there and offer it to people. It's a click on LinkedIn, right? So that's another thing to do, Dina, is just make sure you're offering your services to people, even if there's no opportunity there now. I can't tell you how many opportunities are not posted on LinkedIn that will be created when you give them the mindset to think so, right? You can create an idea.
I never thought about it, but it sounds logical to me.
Yeah. Create your own process. You create your own. You can create your own job, really, because you get them thinking about things they haven't done. How many companies right now are doing the exact same thing? So now shake it up. What ideas are coming to mind that they should be doing? So think about that. So any other questions outside of Dina's the only one speaking up? Really, you guys should be ashamed of yourself.
Questions?
Anybody?
No.
Anybody?
I want to I want to say something real quick too. Humor is international language. I use humor all the time. Don't be afraid to use it in an email when you're reaching out in a video, because it shows, you have a sense of humor and you're being your true self. So it's okay to use humor.
That's a great point, because I think all of us are trying to be professional, but we're still human, and we forget that there's a person behind it. And just so you know, I said this to, I don't know, maybe it was you, Delilah. I was talking to somebody about, managers and directors and VPs and EVPs and all those, they're just employees, just like you. They're not, it's very rare you talk to the owner of the company, right? You're going to talk to an employee of the company. So think of that, when you're talking to people, you want them to think about how you can help them become more valuable as well. That's a very important part of the psychology of communicating with people. Like, how is it that I can help you look good to your employer? And that is the key to understanding when you're talking to people, is the power you bring for them, how you empower them. What we're doing is we're trying to talk about what we have in our own self, but you've got to be able to observe that person's role and what they're trying to do. So asking the right questions of what is the future plans for the company, the organization, or department, and then leveraging that in their space. And that is a trick of listening versus waiting to speak. Right? There is a good way of doing that. If you guys want to talk about that, we can on the second. The reason I say one of three is because I want to start using the mind science stuff. I love to teach. If you guys want to do that, it can be a very small group. It can just be 2 of you, but if it's a big group, fine. But it goes back to understanding those words and observations and how to apply that in those interviews. And so Delilah knows we did a behavioral interview program at the company we worked with. Really good, but I rushed it, right? But I would love to break it down and make it more apropos to like individuals. And so that's something we can easily do when you guys are ready, if you want to. Yeah. So any other questions? Richard, I'm gonna throw you out there. I mean, you just came from another, you like left, you went to Narnia and now you're back. So why don't you ask some questions or say something? You're on mute right now. He's like, dang it.
Better? Is that better?
Yes. Yes.
Good. Okay. I had to switch in the middle of it to my phone. Yeah, you know how Zoom is.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dina, I was just listening to your story and kind of I peeked your resume, and we're now best friends on LinkedIn. You have 10 years of underwriting experience, and you're in the Dallas metropolitan area. Honestly, if I were in that area, I would introduce you to a bunch of principals at real estate firms. Realtors need to know how loans are underwritten and the tremendous value that you could potentially bring with them, because a lot of times you're looking past customers because they just don't know what the guidelines are, right? Specifically, you know, FHA, VA, and now the non-QM, which is the flavor of the month, right? And how people do things with different creative ways of being able to finance. So what I would do is, to your point, Julian, absolutely leverage your skills, pour into the industry, even if you don't get a penny back, because it actually just makes the industry better, right? And it's you've got this tremendous amount of knowledge, and I would not guard it. I would let it out there, right? And you become known as that person. And the great part about it is that the agents will then go to their real estate or to their lenders and say, I've got this underwriter you really need to take a look at. She's incredible. She's willing to educate. She's willing to train. She'll help us drive and bring more business. Because again, what was mentioned earlier is, you know, when we bring value, the value that we bring translates into business for the, you know, whoever it is that we're working for, right? And so do that. And I would also say, you know, we all kind of get in comfortable places in our careers. And I would say take some risks at times, right? And have a little bit of fun with it. And the truth is, I moved to an island in the Caribbean. I left a great company. I was with another great company before that. And sometimes you have to take a risk, but you have the opportunity to be able to bring things, you know, to enhance your career so that you're not that one trick pony, right? Where all you know is how to close loans or whatever it might be, right? But it increases your reach and your ability, again, which translates into you know, benefits across the you know, the industry. And Ian, I see you're on right now. I peeked you. We're going to be best friends on LinkedIn too. This is a CMB, which is the highest designation in the mortgage industry, right? For any private thing. I'm working towards that myself, right? So, you know, people like Ian have a tremendous amount of ability, but not only what he knows, but what he can do to help mentor people on that you know, educational journey that he's been on, right, in his career. And I'm a Future Leaders graduate too, by the way, 2016. I saw you were 1996. We know all the secrets.
Appreciate you. Well, here's what's cool about it. I mean, so Dina, I didn't know you were in Dallas area, but I actually have a realtor firm that wants me. I've offered my services, and having you here, I already have Joanne on the call too, but want to use for virtual. But locally, if you're in the Dallas area, then we can talk about that, because that's something we're going to be doing. So definitely let's talk about that. So this is what the whole concept of doing this is for. It's like to collaborate. I used to have this thing where Delilah was a part of, Sandy is a part of, and we have this inner circle meeting, and it usually is every Tuesday. It used to be at 6 a.m. We moved it to 6:30. Sandy, I think I might move it to 7 a.m. so we can get some West Coast people involved too. But it's an inner circle meeting every Tuesday. You're not obligated to be there, but it's just a collaboration of minds. I have multi-billionaires to frontline employees on there. Some people are in Australia, overseas. I have people in Egypt sometimes. I mean, you have people from all over the world, and we'll get on this call. It's a Zoom call, and it's all about the mindset and this really understanding how we all think and react to life versus really being kind of observant of it and then knowing which way to navigate. It's really cool. It went on really for a long time. Delilah would pop in and out sometimes. She would come in and throw her taco stuff out there and leave, but it was just a lot of fun. So I'll let you guys know about that. If you want to know more, just reach out to me, because I want us to kind of realize that there's power in talking. And just like Dina just spoke up, and all of a sudden, boom, I just got an idea, and maybe we can just.
I'm ecstatic. I hadn't thought about different. And when I saw this meeting, I said, I can learn something from this meeting. Somehow it told me that I would. And I see that, and I really appreciate everything.
That's a good thing. There's a difference between gut feelings and anxiety. Anxiety is when you're thinking of future problems and how it brings you, but gut feelings, reacting to them, is really a lost skill that we have. We kind of overthink. And how many of you guys have been in the shower and come up with a great idea and then you forget about it? That's So coming up with using those gut feelings.
Taco Tuesday was created in the shower, by the way. Taco Tuesday was created in the shower. I'm gonna be honest, absolutely in the shower.
Well, here's the thing. There you go. Here's the thing too. I'm gonna have Sandy. Sandy, are you there? I'm gonna throw you out there. Like, Sandy's gonna get so mad at me about this. So, all right, but another thing is, here's one thing. If you are working someplace, here's the thing. You have this desire. All of us, by human nature, have desire to be appreciated, loved, respected, and purpose. Those are three major things that we have as humans. I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of business you have. I don't care if you're Grant Cardone to anybody else. We all want those things, and we strive for them. So Sandy does something with her company where she literally has created a employee, what'd you call it, Sandy? It's kind of where did it go? Sandy, you there? I don't even know if she's there.
Employee recognition.
Yeah.
Program. Yeah.
She does something really unique, is that she does, to Chris's point and Delilah's point, creates videos that aren't professionally done. They're actually kind of funny, like cheesy done, right? They're done in a kind of a jokey way. But what is the things that you focus on when you deal with the frontline employees? I would say support staff. What are the things you guys focus on there?
With our employee recognition program?
Yeah.
Well, we have a couple. We have one where it's a contest. And leadership, as well as the sales team, will actually submit their people that they want to nominate. And once we announce that, it's twice a year, and they get to win a $1,000 bonus. But the biggest thing is it's part of a membership. They become this member of the Rising Stars. It's called the Rising Stars. And people get very excited about it, not because it has, monetary value, but because they get a spotlight during our meetings. We get all the write-ups of all the great things that people said about them. So it's really exciting. But I think what is most interactive and people are really loving is what we did is it's called the Kudos. And Kudos is a place where anybody, not just the leadership, or the salespeople, but anybody can submit a hoorah, a kudos, somebody did something really great to anybody on the team, anybody. So we have everything from clients, giving kudos, as well as people interacting in the team. And we read those every quarter in our meetings, and people are loving that, because what it's doing is it's bringing a camaraderie. It's almost like we've become more of a tribe. Because of that, you feel the love between different teammates and people. And I find that each time we do them, the kudos are getting longer and longer and longer because people are loving it. Oh, and then we read it, and we even put it up on the, we have.
That's what I was going to say. Is like, it goes back to what I had to bring that up, you guys, because that's no different than what I just said. People want to feel like there's a purpose. They want to feel appreciated and loved. And companies tend to lean on like gazoo points or like thank yous, but taking time to actually appreciate other people. So here's what I'm trying to get to. How do you leverage that in our people that are looking for jobs right now, or people that are working? understand that if you can show appreciation to somebody, like literally not say thanks, but literally define, like, Dina, I don't know, let's say this, I don't know if Terry has kids or Dina, you have kids, but let's say you did something and you said thank you, but you said, look, knowing that you have kids and you did this on a Saturday, I really appreciate that because it really means a lot that you took time out for me personally when you could have been with your kids. That's a big difference than saying just thank you, right? So when you guys have somebody that refers you, or if you have a request for somebody, make sure you're very intentional about your thanks, because that's going to make a huge difference when you're asking for something and you get it from them. So I like people, if you don't have anybody giving you what's it called, recommendations on LinkedIn, I would say do that. Reach out to people you've worked with, reach out to people you've bumped into. You know, if you've done anything for them, ask them for recommendations. And once they give it to you, thank them enormously, because that's going to mean a lot more than just accepting it and walking away, because human nature is desired to be appreciated, loved, and purpose, right? So you can do all that in one sitting. So I use what's happening with Sandy's success with her employee program with is human nature. She's honing in on human nature and taking time to interview them like a talk show host would, and do spicy videos with that, and have it short enough for people to keep the attention, but long enough where people feel appreciated, right? So those are the things we want to do. So we're running out of time. Any other questions you guys have for Delilah or myself or Chris or anybody else? Thanks, Sandy. Anybody?
You guys can always connect with me and ask me. You're welcome. Trish, you guys can reach out to me on LinkedIn, send me a message, all my contact information. I respond.
Yeah, I think you do. And all of us, Delilah, Chris, and I came together. We talked about this. We want to do something different. We want to shake it up. We want to create a tribe, if you will, of people in our industry that really want to leverage each other's knowledge and not be shy to be human, right? And not just focus on our industry, but focus on our livelihood, which is individual interaction with people. We need to do that. You guys, a strength of our own. Right now, if we wanted to, just playing right now, we could design our own mortgage company right here. Literally, we could take it by storm if we wanted to, but it's a decision we would have to make, right? But I'm saying we can do anything we want. We just need to make that decision. But one thing we need to do is first come together and be open to hearing each other's mindsets and where we're at and experiences we've had and our ideas. And I think we can do a lot with it. So like with Delilah and Chris, reach out to us. I would love to get your feedback privately. You guys know I'm a coach, life and business coach. That's what I love to do, but I'm not going to sell you guys on that. If you guys ever want to talk about it, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you. But really helping people find their space and comfort in where they're at is my bent. And Chris knows I love doing that, because every time we talk, I end up throwing stuff at him. And Delilah, she wants tacos, and then Chris will video us talking and eating tacos, right? And that's what we can do together. So did you guys get anything from this? I hope you did. Please let us know. You can always send the email out to us, but I want to do this again. If you guys want to be invited to the next one, just let me know, and I'll make sure you get invited. It's not going to be so, maybe organized. I always wing it, as you guys can see.
Yeah.
Great, Julian.
Have a great day, everyone, and feel free to reach out, you guys.
Yep.
Happy hump day.
Feel free to connect on LinkedIn.
Yes, please connect with each one of you.
Thank you, Chris. Bye, guys. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.